Good evening. It is Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021, and coming to you live from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamm Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamm. With me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
Hey, you know,
Yeah,
the crowd
there it is.
a little late reacting.
It happens.
But they're here. They're here. They're invested. In the as always, best crowd in sports broadcasting.
Really, it sounds like they're from like a big open hall or something like that. I'm not sure where they are.
It's the other part of the studio.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
the studio
it's
audience
segmented
part is,
off.
right? Because
It's like a gym.
we don't want to hear that noise while we're on the air, so we keep them in a separate. It's like simulcast kind. It's like a closed circuit thing they watch in there.
We just channel it in for applause.
Yeah, I mean tickets are cheap, so if you're in town, you definitely need to get tickets and come to the show.
That's right.
And see it live. It takes on a whole new. I don't know what. How about that? So we are live streaming on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports, on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show, and you can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com. Please check out our webpage, www.lambsports.com. You can find links to the past shows and the current trivia question on the website. The first segment of our show is brought to you by. I don't even have it up. See, look at that. See, I'm doing a whole nother thing here. It's all kind of messed up. It is not working. See, first technical difficulty.
That happens. Technical difficulties are part of the fun of our show.
So here's the thing. Let me just tell you what happened. I bought 2 brand new monitors.
Oh,
right?
Grief. Why do you have 60 monitors in your room now?
No, I needed to buy 2 brand new of my own. What I was using before was technically not mine. But I bought 2 brand new ones that are mine. And they're 27-inch. They're big. They're almost too big. But I plugged them in and I started using them. And they're apparently I put display 1 is this one and display 2 is this one, and before they were switched. And so now when my all of my stuff is set to display capture this particular display, it's going to be the wrong one.
That sounds right.
Yeah, so
right.
So they're all going to be a little off. Is all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So, like I said, the first part of the show, as always, brought to you by The Range in Yakima. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination at 34,000 square feet. The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail firearm sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services all under one roof. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. The phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Lamm Sports Show. And if you go to The Range, LLC.com. Go there right now. You can enter the Yakima Police Department's Gun Safe raffle. They're giving away a gun safe. You can enter right now. I don't know when the drawing is.
Gotta get that information.
I should, huh? But
we'll get it next time.
But you need not be present to win. So
there you go.
So just go on.
Will they ship the gun safe to you?
I don't. Gosh, you know what? That's a lot you have a lot of.
That's an expensive shipping cost, especially. I don't know how big the gun safe is, but I would assume it's going to cost a little bit.
It's a handheld. It's a portable one. It's not like a big, giant gun safe. It's like a for one gun, but it's still not light. And I don't know. I assume they would, but I mean, it's a free gun safe.
Sure.
So I mean,
you can't argue with that.
Worst case, it's a free gun safe. So
didn't mean to give you the 5th degree there.
I mean, next time, let me know that we're going to have to answer questions about things, because I was totally unprepared to give you all the scoop. I just want you to go there and enter the drawing. So
that's fair.
I feel like you can't probably win.
Not eligible?
Considering we're connected.
Connected to the owners?
Yeah. So
it happens.
Anyway, that's at The Range in Yakima. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So we have sports to talk about. NBA playoffs. We have NHL playoffs. We've got Naomi, Osaka to talk about.
Sure.
We're talking about unruly fans in the NBA.
So many of them.
Well, there's been a few. But we're going to start today. Instead of the trivia question, we're going to start with breaking news. And the breaking news is that sources have confirmed to ESPN that Duke University men's basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski is planning on retiring at the end of the upcoming season. The 74-year-old Coach K has 1,097 career wins at Duke. He's taken the Blue Devils to 12 Final Four appearances, including 5 national titles in his 41 seasons as head coach. Combined with his 5 years at Army, he's the winningest coach in Division I men's basketball history with a record of 1170 and 361. 35 NCAA tournament appearances, 97 NCAA tournament wins, 126 weeks to top the AP at the number 1 spot in the AP Top 25 poll. Olympic gold medals as coach of the U.S. national team in Beijing 2008, London 2012, and Rio 2016. He's produced 41 NBA draft first rounders at Duke. So here's the question I have for you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to be the next coach at Duke?
No.
No.
God, no. I mean, yes, because it should be an autonomous program. It's a traditional blue blood. It has this huge line of success, and it has, it's going to come with recruits just coming to you because you're Duke. You know what I mean? So, but this next year will get tested in how much were the recruits coming because of Coach K, and how much were they coming because it's just Duke.
Right. Yeah,
so,
and we just don't know.
Yeah, so I wouldn't want the job because that seems like an unnecessary challenge when there are a bajillion other job openings.
But there are probably guys out there who are at that level just under that would love to be that guy. You know what I mean? They'd love for an opportunity to be to take over a program of. I mean that's probably the number one job in college basketball. I'll guess.
Tell you a guy, as much as it would pain me, would be Dana Allman. Dana Allman would be a fantastic candidate for that position. He's recruited well here at Oregon. Could you imagine how much better he'd recruit, at a place like Duke? He made Oregon into a program that's competitive year in and year out. And, at a place like Duke, it'd be that much easier. And he already has a track record of success. I feel like he's the kind of coach that you're going to want. So they're going to find a guy like that who's already been successful somewhere else.
Yeah.
And they're gonna bring that guy in. They're not. I mean, I know they've talked about like there's a coach in waiting and things like that, and that's the other route that they could go. But I don't know.
I think there's you're gonna find out that they've probably already named a replacement. That's what I feel. That they've already got the guy in mind. So,
well, they came out and said that they were looking into their coach in waiting. Right. To ease over the transition, but who knows what that means? And who knows that if Coach K isn't there, that guy doesn't go take a job at, UNC. They got a void to fill too, right? Or wait, no, they filled it with their coach in waiting.
Yeah, everybody seems to promote from within because that's the first thing, and then when that guy doesn't work out, then
they fire him and go somewhere else.
You got to go look.
Which I'm not mad about, promoting from within. I think that's a good thing. I think it creates a legacy that players can at least attach to, because when a coach leaves, sometimes you have so much turnover, and if the other coach just comes from within, then next thing you know, you're sitting there, and as a player, you're like, okay, well, it's mostly the same coaching staff. It's a lot of the guys who recruited me. It's a lot of the coaches who coach me, just not the head coach. And I feel like everything's going to be the same though. So I feel like it's a smart idea to promote within if you're already an established program.
Yeah, I think you're right. Probably. I mean, I'm not. Yeah. It depends. It depends on what you got. It depends on how strongly you feel about what you've got in your program right now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Oh, they haven't been wildly successful over the last couple of years. They've definitely been down. Yeah. So that could always hurt them. And it's the same thing with UNC. UNC and Duke both were kind of down the last few years, and now both their coaches are retired. You would expect them to stay down.
Yeah. Well. I guess we'll be for finding out.
Yes, that's a weird way to say it, but yeah. I guess we'll be for finding out. Yep.
Well, I mean, all right. Well, you haven't been around enough. You haven't heard all the phrases, by the way.
I have not, no.
So let's also talk about the Indy 500.
Sure.
Because it was this last weekend, Memorial Day weekend. It is always Memorial Day weekend at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And at age 46, Helio Castroneves won his fourth Indy 500 this past Sunday. He joins Al Unser Jr., Rick Mears, and A.J. Foyt as the only four-time winners of the Borg-Warner Trophy. That's what that big silver monstrosity is, the Borg-Warner Trophy, in case you wanted to know.
Borg-Warner Trophy.
It's a little bit of trivia. So here's my question. Now, with Phil winning, at age 50, and Helio wins at age 46, what's with all the old guys winning stuff? What's the deal? Because I feel like these are all young man's things, right? Sports is supposed to be a young man's game. It's not supposed to be won by old guys.
Here's what I'll tell you is that COVID was an old person's game. Older people had no freaking problem staying at home. And I'm sure some of these dudes are like, hell, man, I got 7 months of rest. This is great. I can squeeze my ass into a car for a couple hours.
Oh, well, maybe.
No big deal.
I see where
so
you're going.
I feel like these older guys are winning because these restless younger guys are outpacing their activities, and the older guys are doing just fine. This is just the right amount of activity.
Is that what you're saying? Just well rested.
Exactly right.
50-year-olds are well rested now.
Well, that's right. Well, I mean, just think about it. If you want to be a competing PGA player, you're gonna have to compete in quite a few tournaments and things like that. It doesn't matter your age; you have to stick with it. Otherwise, you'll kind of get forgotten. Especially if you're not someone who wins a lot of money all the time. So, I mean, but now you had this big old time off, relax the muscles, get that calf right that was bothering you or whatever it was.
Right.
And it's the same thing for the NASCAR dudes. They didn't have to jump into a car for quite a while. I mean, being fair, they were racing. They were the first sport back of the American sports. So it just I don't know. I'm not saying that's the reason. I think it's just a weird field. Like I watched some of it early. I think I watched like the first 40 laps, and I was like, all right, I need something else to do now. Young guy problems, right? Couldn't focus for a whole race.
Right.
But I feel like I don't know.
It makes it hard to watch. I mean, it's a big oval, and to drive around it for however many laps it takes some. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, takes some patience.
But I feel like now that people are winning at age 50, there's still hope for me. So yay!
Get on. I mean, being fair, he's been racing for my goodness. So I just as an apology, everyone, I have the Montreal game on in the background here, and I happened to look up, and Montreal just scored a goal on an open net, and the guy got obliterated. He's unconscious on the ground. It is incredible to watch.
After he scored or while he was scoring?
After he caught the puck and then turned and flicked it into the net and immediately got slammed.
Wow.
Like everyone's going to see this on their feeds tomorrow. I'm sorry. It caught me so off guard. When I step back from a play, that's usually a big deal. Yeah, they're going to have to carry him off, but that's okay. Anyways, sorry about that.
And that's Jake Evans for you guys who don't know.
And that's why hockey's not a 50-year-old's game.
Right. That's Jake Evans scoring with 58 seconds to go to put Montreal up 5-3.
Yeah.
So,
it was interesting.
You hate to see that kind of stuff, but it's part of the game, the collisions, the hockey. Anyway, let's you know what, the Indy 500 is going to bring us back to the trivia question.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what we do. So the trivia question is brought to you by Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River, and both their locations are open. The winery at the Vineyard, 3827 Fletcher Drive, and the downtown tasting room at 210 Oak Street. Call them 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750 for reservations, directions, information. You want to order wine, any of that stuff. You can also email them, info@staveandstone.com. Just go to the website. You're looking at it right now, by the way, staveandstone.com. Stave and Stone, wines with personality. So the trivia question is this, since we talked about the Indy 500 just now. Here's the question. You ready?
Yeah.
It's easy. I made it easy. This was the 105th running of the Indy 500. And Castroneves was in the number 6 car. Here's your question. What car number has won the most times at the Indy 500?
Number 3, baby.
So that's the trivia question. So there you go.
Actually, I don't know enough NASCAR numbers.
They're not NASCAR.
But
this is Indy 500.
IndyCar, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know enough IndyCar numbers. But I would feel like lower numbers tend to be more prevalent. So
well, when they started, there was only one car, so I guess
that's. It was just one car racing himself.
Just number 1, and he won. He won every time. No,
he went around the track one time. Was like, this would be more fun if there was somebody else here.
If there was a 2 car, yeah, yeah, it would be maybe a lot more challenging. I mean, whatever.
It's no fun with just the one. But so I'm gonna lock in my guess right now. We'll tell it at the end of the show, but I'm gonna say 3.
You're gonna say the number 3.
I'm gonna say number 3.
Okay, I feel like that's a guess.
That is a guess. See,
not just
very much a guess.
Not just any guess. That's just a guess. All right, so let's talk about the NHL since you already opened that can of worms.
Sorry,
I
everyone.
mean, ruined my whole format of the show and everything
It's not the end of the
right
world.
now. But we'll get to that one in just a minute. But Islanders Bruins, they are tied at 1 in their series. Boston won 5-2 on Saturday, and the Islanders won Game 2 on Monday 4-3 in overtime. Game 3 is Thursday on NBC Sports at 7:30 Eastern. I told you to watch out for the Bruins. I
You
keep
did.
telling you that. They're still my pick, guys, to go all the way. Now, that's provided they don't have to face the Avalanche in the finals because I've been watching the Avalanche play and they're just terribly good. Um,
Yes,
and
they
we'll
are.
and we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute too. One of the other conference, I guess they're conference semifinals. I don't. They're let's call them division finals because that's what they're doing this year. So the other one of the other division finals is the Carolina Hurricanes and Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay leads 2-0 with a pair of 2-1 wins on Sunday and Tuesday. That game 3 is Thursday on USA at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And Tampa was last year's winner, so and they're leading 2-0. Good bet to get to the conference final. There's no conference anymore. I mean, they've thrown it all weird. They've done it all weird, and it's throwing me off. It used to be
It's
divisions and conference, and this was. I don't like it.
it's okay.
I'm not good with change.
I'm excited to watch good teams play each other. I don't care if they're in the same conference or not.
I suppose, but these are all conference guys. They're picking one team from each
Yeah,
conference to make it to the finals. They're not necessarily going to get the best teams, but that's okay. I kind of like
sure.
the format. I just don't like the way that I can't just say this is Western Conference final. This is
It
Eastern.
does mean that like your Avalanche Vegas matchup, which would have been in kind of a finale before the Stanley Cup,
Right.
it's gonna happen much earlier now.
Yeah.
It's gonna well not much earlier. It's gonna happen around earlier,
Right.
and one of those two teams is gonna get deprived of the chance to play to go to it because of that. So I can see the gripe. I get it.
Yeah. That's only part of my gripe. Part of my gripe is that I'm an old person and I like the way it was. But that's just that that's normal for me to be grumpy about change.
Yeah.
But I mean I like change, but not just because we want to change. And I want to be able to call. Is it Eastern Conference? No, because they made a
No.
whole conference. They made a whole division of North.
Right.
Right. the
North
whole
Division.
the whole division is just teams from Canada. And I'm like, well, that's great and all, except now you spanned all the way across Canada, screwing the whole travel thing, you know what I mean, and keeping people from whatever. Long story short, Canadians and the Jets it is still 5-3. There must be a giant timeout. Are you watching the game still? Because I have no
Oh
idea.
yeah, they're just now pulling him off the
Oh my
ice.
gosh.
Evans, yeah, he's on a stretcher. He's been pulled off, but he's fist bumping people on
Oh,
his
okay.
way off the
So
ice.
he's
So
not. So he's not dead. That's good.
he's not dead. The other team's out on the ice trying to say thank you and things like that. Or trying to say things. Even the guy who hit him
Right.
was trying. He immediately got kicked out. Was trying to come back on the ice to see if he was okay,
Well, that's good.
which means that he wasn't trying to
No.
hurt him like this. But this guy is he might be damaged. He's at least concussed, if not more. But yeah, he's moving his hands and things like that. When they picked the stretcher up and started moving it, he adjusted in it to get more comfortable. So,
Well,
I think he's fine.
this will be a fourth straight win for the Canadians. They were down 3-1 to the Maple Leafs in that first round and then won 3 straight. And so
Yeah.
they're on fire, apparently. Catching fire at the right time is important, too, because
Yeah.
playoff time is the time to do that. So that's game 1. Looks like it's going to go to the Canadians unless something crazy magical happens in the last 58 seconds. Vegas Knights and the Avalanche. And I told you I was been watching the Avalanche play. If you watched game 1, I'm sorry if you're a Vegas fan because
That
be-
sucked.
because the Avalanche lead the series 1-0 after a dominating 7-1 win over Vegas on Sunday. Nathan McKinnon and Gabriel Landeskog each had 2 goals and an assist for the Avalanche, and it was just ugly. The second period where they scored 4 goals
It was nasty.
was just ugly.
Didn't look good at all.
Yeah, game 2 is just getting underway. I don't think they even dropped the puck. Probably
They're
just
waiting for this. They're waiting for this game to end.
they probably did a prolonged national anthem or something. I don't know. But they're waiting, yeah, and so that is gonna happen tonight. Game 2 is tonight in Denver, and you can watch it on. I don't know what channel it's on, to be honest with you, because it doesn't say on here.
NBC Sports Network.
That's usually where they're either all on there or on USA.
Yeah,
So
they're these two tonight, the Montreal game right now, and then the Avalanche game afterward are both on NBCSN.
doubleheader. All right. So that brings us to, I guess, kind of the halfway point. I mean, we're not really halfway. We kind of there's only
How did we burn through that?
there's only 4 hockey series though,
I
and there's
even interrupted to react to a hockey
see
game.
there's only 4 hockey series now, and there's only 2 games tonight and 2 games tomorrow and 2 games the next.
Sure.
So it's kind of slowed down all of a sudden, and we're gonna have to start filling it in with the less desirable sports. That's the wrong term. Let's not
Back to
call it
Korean
that.
baseball.
I mean, we can always cover Korean baseball.
Well, they play it all year round, damn near.
And that's a good idea. We should give an update, maybe next week.
Next week, Korean
Next week,
baseball update.
Korean
You
baseball
don't
update.
want to miss
You
it.
do not. You can't, because none of you out there know exactly the standings. Let's admit it. So there's no, so there's
You
no
can't pronounce
reason.
the players' names. You can't pronounce the team names, but we'll let you know how it's going over
We
there
will
in
give
that
you,
version of the sport.
we will give you the absolute correct, incorrect pronunciation of everything.
Sure.
Next week. So I guess I mean I don't know. We're halfway. So let's call it halfway. And so
Let's call it halfway.
the second half of the show is brought to you by Boss Kitty Shop and BossKittyLive.com. Boss Kitty hand-dyed yarns. Make sure you tune into BossKittyLive.com at 6 p.m. every Monday and Wednesday and 11 a.m. every other Sunday for fun, fiber, games, tutorials, and the occasional F-bomb. That's Boss. I see. I already screwed it up. That's Boss Kitty. Why did I want to? I've been saying this for how many? This is 49 times.
This is 49 shows,
49
and you're
shows.
just now screwing it up the last 2 shows.
I can't. It's like a tongue twister now. I don't know.
This is how we lose a sponsor, by the way.
I feel like
For sure.
I feel like they're getting free advertising. So,
It's true.
you don't.
It's true.
You tend not to throw that out.
We don't count those big yarn payments they sent our way.
And by the way, we have not yet received any free yarn. I'm just saying.
Not yet.
So
Been
I feel,
dropping these names for 48 shows.
right?
No free yarn yet.
Oh my gosh. We even let Tech Kitty from Boss Kitty come on the show twice, and now we're gonna have to have him back on, by the way, so we can give him a
Still
hard
no
time.
free yarn. What
Ask him
are we
where
doing
the,
here?
where the free stuff is, the merch. There's got to be swag because we're
Can I get a T-shirt or a hat?
something. I mean, I think he already.
Or some yarn to make a T-shirt or a hat?
Yeah, could you just make me a hat that says the Best Lamb Sports Show on it? That'd be awesome.
I realized kind of the goofiness of when I said, "Can you give me a piece of clothing?" And I was like, "Well, damn, they're making various articles of clothing. Like they could probably help me with this."
Right. Can they knit me a mug? Because I need a coffee mug. Knit me a coffee mug, and I can put
Ooh, I'll tell you, I need a new koozie.
for your coffee.
No,
No, for cold
my
thing.
beer.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha.
The exact opposite of coffee. It's a downer, not an upper.
Well,
So
you got to do what you got to do. All right, so that's Boss Kitty hand dyed yarns. Yarn so boss, you'll knit your pants. And the yarn is beautiful. If you haven't gone on the website, and you should be looking at it right now. The yarn is really pretty. I think all the colors that she has and the the names, right? That she's come up with for these things, and it's really pretty impressive. Anyway, go to Boss Kitty, get you some yarn if you're a knitter, or you know everybody knows a knitter in their family. There's at least one.
at least one.
Yep.
I know like 7.
You can get them a virtual gift card if you don't know what to get them. It's all there, right? You know a crap ton of them.
Yeah, I know the people over there, and then I know a bunch of other people. Yeah,
Right.
it's so many.
Yeah, the family's full.
And yet, I have received 0 koozies.
You think someone would knit you something every once in a while,
It's
right?
becoming a real problem.
I
I'm
know.
almost out of socks here, people.
I know. We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to try. We're gonna have to push for that. See if we can get one, and then we'll show it on the air. So,
Ooh, maybe we can get like a special, Best Lamb Sports Show color of yarn.
Oh, I
Or something
like
like
that
that.
idea.
Maybe it's like a mix of black and red or
We
something like
should
that. Since that's
bring
our
that
logo.
up.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
a good plan.
put that in the notebook. Put that one in the skin
the
box.
best, the best lamb yarn. I like it. Okay, so let's move on, and let's talk about Naomi Osaka for just
Right.
a minute. No, if you don't know who that is, that's a women's tennis player on the WTA. Is it still the WTA, the Women's Tennis Association? I think.
Well,
I feel like it is.
This particular event was an ITF event.
Oh, right, because
It was
it's international.
international tennis.
Yeah. She had to withdraw from the French Open. That's what's going on
Right.
right now. And if you're looking at it, this is her statement. I'll read it to you. I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players, and my well-being is that I withdraw so that everyone can get back to focusing on the tennis going on in Paris. The truth is I've suffered with long bouts of depression since the U.S. Open in 2018, and I have a really hard time coping with that. I'm going to take some time away from the court now. And that's just a snippet of what she said. It was a much longer statement. And all this was because she was refusing to talk to the press
Right.
after round one match.
Right.
So the question becomes, she has a hard time. She said she had a hard time dealing with the media. She doesn't like talking to the press. She doesn't know how to come up with the right answers. And we talked about this before, and I'm going to say it again. I feel like as a professional tennis player, that's just part of what you do, and you have to be good at it.
I feel like that's part of being a professional athlete.
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah.
So it should have come as no surprise that you were going to have to do this, and I don't know what the depression. That's a thing. I understand that. I don't understand when it manifests itself. I have no idea for different people because it seems if you're an outsider looking in, you just don't know, right? I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with you, right? Personally, so
right.
I don't, as an outsider, I don't know, but I see what you do and I see your life and I go, wow, that wouldn't depress me, but there could be other things going on and you just don't know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, even in my daily life, there are times when I just don't want to do things. And it's not, I know that sounds weird, but it's not like I'm saying I don't want to go to work or I don't want to. A great example is sometimes people will come over who aren't my friends.
Right.
And I don't really want to talk to them. It's not that I can't talk to them. It's just that I don't really feel comfortable with it or just simply put, I don't want to. I'm tired or there's a thousand reasons why you might not want to do something. And sometimes I just deal with it and just talk and just say, oh, hey, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I'll just stay in my room and stay away. This is an example where Naomi was like, I don't want to do this. And it's not worth it to even continue to act like I might want to do this. I'm just going to get out of here. I am done trying to act like I want to talk to these people. It did seem a little poorly timed and things like that, but I kind of get it. I'm not the biggest on public speaking either, but also that's not like a depression thing. It's just I just don't always love talking to people I don't know, answering questions or having to give presentations and things like that, despite the fact that I'm on an award-winning podcast.
Wow. Are you? Is that the other one?
We want a Dundee Award, I think, or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we're definitely a Guinness record-holding podcast. Most technical difficulties. Anyway,
most shows with the least viewers.
Right? I don't know, something like that.
That's a classic.
We don't know. There's probably a lot of accolades.
Real quick side note on that. In order to get that, you have to write to them or send them an email or whatever it is nowadays, and then they have to send out a person to observe whatever the thing is that you're claiming that you're having a record for.
Right.
So if we were claiming to have the record for least amount of viewers in a period, they'd have to send out an investigator to comb through our shows and determine how many viewers we had per show or listeners we had per show and things like that. I think that's really funny.
And I guess my bigger question is, did just because I say it is, I say that we have the least amount, is that even a record? Has anybody even gone out and trying to figure out what that record is? Or is this the first time they investigate it? Because the first time you investigate it, does it even need investigation? Because whoever the first person is that claims they have the least amount of viewers is right.
Or better yet, what about all the people who have to go out and investigate things that don't end up panning out? Like some guy says he can hold his breath for 10 minutes. And so they go out to his house and his pool. He hops underwater a minute and a half in. He's gasping for air. And they're like, sorry, it's not going to happen today. How many rejects do they go through before they have a successful one?
I don't know, but I feel like that's a great job to go out to all these places and watch people do stupid things. I feel like that's
so far off track.
That's probably a great job to have because per diem and travel and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so this led to the whole Naomi thing led to Venus Williams. She got asked, at a press conference, how she dealt with the media and the attention from them.
Right. kind of referencing the Osaka
Yeah.
situation, saying like, "Hey, she's dealing with this way. How do you do it?"
And her quote, part of her quote, um, was this: "For me personally, how I dealt with it was that I know every single person asking me a question can't play as well as I can and never will. So no matter what you say or what you write, you'll never light a candle to me."
Right.
Which I don't think light a candle is right. It's hold a candle. So
Hold a
she
candle.
got the phrase wrong. But that's
Well, no, they're not even gonna get to hold it. They can't even light it.
well, I mean, you
That's
gotta hold
that's
it.
how inept in the process they are.
Oh, okay. So here's my thing. I'm not exactly sure that that was the answer that anyone was looking for because she's not talking about. We're not talking about how do you feel about the press because that's what she just told us.
Right.
How she feels about the press. She literally is taking a swipe at the media by
Well,
saying, "I don't care
but
what
she
you
also
write."
said, "How do you feel about the press in reference to what they say about your playing?"
Yeah.
That's she steered it in a very specific
Yes,
route.
she
Like,
did.
if you comment on my game, I know you don't have game.
Right.
So how can you comment on mine?
Right.
That she steered it into a very specific place, which kind of tells me she's probably harboring a little something about towards someone who insulted her at some point.
Well, I mean, that's
No.
I guess I don't know. Maybe that's what Naomi needs to do. She needs to harbor something that somebody said negative about her and just use that as fuel.
Or just go full Marshawn Lynch and just say I'm here so I don't get
I'm
fined.
here so I don't get fined.
Marshawn Lynch also suffers with anxiety and like
Eh,
social stress and things like that, but he still showed up and wore sunglasses and
yeah,
acted like he couldn't hear people.
and you're not required to give great answers. There's no there's no
No,
requirement to give
any
it.
answer will do.
Yep. Nope.
One of my favorite press conferences is after one of the basketball games in the bubble. Oh, it was a women's basketball game, one of the WNBA games last year. They were asking questions, and after every question, the girl would just say some stats. Oh, Breonna Taylor was so and so years old. Breonna Taylor did this for a living. Blah 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 blah. And they'd be like, "Okay, so tonight you had 15 points and blah blah, blah and this," and you go, "Okay, well, Breonna Taylor was this and Breonna Taylor was that," and they weren't answering the questions at all. But that's not a requirement. The requirement is that you speak.
Right.
So use that moment and talk about it. Maybe what Naomi Osaka needs to do is next time they ask a question, say, "Hey, let's talk about depression right now. I'm going to tell you a few facts. I'm going to tell you how it manifests itself. I'm going to tell you how it looks, how it doesn't look, and I'm going to tell you it could happen to anyone." And blah, 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 blah. And maybe that's how she uses that platform, when she's comfortable to talk.
Sure.
When.
Yeah.
But Venus, man, coming after people's head.
I'm telling you, she was coming out swinging. No pun intended. Wait, pun intended.
Coming out backhanded.
Back.
That's not as fun.
Is it too soon to joke about?
That's dangerous. You don't want to be coming out backhanded. That'll get you a charge right there.
Anyway, so long story short, the French Open is the loser in all this, and that they're one of the top tennis players in the world isn't going to play anymore in their tournament. So it throws everything off. And who's the winner? Those people below her who are would have had to have played her. Yeah, they're absolutely going. Woo-hoo.
Well, it's really just the one person, right?
Well,
one person doesn't have to play her, at least in this round. One person wouldn't have to play her. I don't know how many rounds there are. Presumably in the next round, I'm going to guess there's 4, like a normal tournament.
No, it's more than that. It's
way more than that?
Yeah, there's like 8 rounds. So
then there might be like 5 or 6 people who benefit from her withdrawing.
Absolutely. Because there's like 100 tennis players in each bracket or something, or the men's and women's. Yeah, tennis is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that's why they play on like 6 different courts all at once and blah 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 blah.
Sure.
And the matches can take anywhere from an hour to 6 hours or 7 hours.
Somebody talked about a tennis event once about like a concert, like, oh, when you go to a festival, there's like 5 or 6 different stages and there's different bands playing at all times. It's like that. I'm like, yeah, except at every stage everyone has to be quiet.
And everyone's playing the same song.
And everyone's playing the same song.
if you just heard Led Zeppelin on every stage with the exact same song playing, it wouldn't be as exciting. Whatever. Yeah, but it is kind of like that. I mean, most of those places you can go from court to court. Some of them, the main center courts, you have to buy tickets for specifically. But,
yeah.
Anyway, let's move. Ready?
Let's move on.
We got to talk about the NBA.
Let's go to the video.
There's no video yet. But we're yet. We'll get to that in a minute. Blazers and Nuggets. The Blazers lost a heartbreaker to Denver in Game 5 last night, 147-140 in double overtime. Damian Lillard had an NBA playoff record 12 three-pointers and he scored a franchise playoff record 55 points to no avail.
Yep.
Literally,
In a loss. Yep.
literally didn't do any good. Portland scored 19 points in the 2 overtimes. Lillard had 17 of them.
Yeah.
At one point in the second period, the Blazers were down 20 in this game. They came storming back. Forced overtime. Lillard hits a long three to force overtime. He hits a long three to force double overtime. In what should have been the Nuggets should have clinched this in the first overtime, but they failed miserably to close them out.
No, the Nuggets should have clinched it in the second quarter.
Sure.
Or in the third quarter.
Yeah, but they
put it away then, but they
let
relaxed.
They let them come back.
Yeah.
But they had a chance in overtime. They were in full on control in overtime, and they just flat out decided not to stop Damian Lillard, and they let him score 3 threes in a row. And I'm like, wow.
Oh, I wouldn't say that they let him. They were double teaming him, and they were putting a lot of pressure on him. It was they gave every bit of effort to stop him.
Yeah, I haven't figured out how people can't figure out the pick and roll or the screen. It's not a pick and roll anymore. It's just a screen that a big man sets, and somehow let's back up. I feel like this particular generation of NBA player gets away with a lot of steps that people didn't used to get away with. And so when they go around a screen and find themselves halfway open, there's a lot of jump backs and step forwards or step to the sides where the ball doesn't touch the ground. And I go, that's a travel, right? I mean, you picked up the ball and you took a step to the left and then shot. You really can't do that. But they do it.
It's ugly looking sometimes.
Yeah. So I think that's part of this generation. That's how they get a lot of those open shots.
But that's on officiating.
I'm not.
If the officials are never going to call it, you're never going to have a basis for what's wrong or right.
Right. But that's and that we'll talk about. This is off topic too, but that is why you can't compare one generation against another. It's why you can't compare the 80s people against the 2000s. It's
impossible. Because nobody in the 90s got LeBron treatment.
Yeah.
Even MJ got called for charges and fouls. Yeah. MJ fouled out of, what did they say, 36 games? LeBron James has fouled out of 5? Yeah. 5 or 6? Like, that's a preposterous concept.
That's the word of the day.
Preposterous.
Anyway, so, I feel like now it's must win, of course. They're going to play Game 6 in Portland on Thursday night.
Which I will be there for, by the way. 1 of 10,000. No big deal.
No big deal.
NBD, just going to be in the crowd. If you listen really hard enough, people, you will hear me losing my voice again.
I might actually get to see that one because that one's going to be on TNT.
TNT.
Yeah. Whereas when they put them on the NBA TV, because it's also on NBC Sports Northwest, they don't show that up here. And
they gotta rework that damn deal because in a normal season, which is a shortened season, they have the deal where you can buy the Blazers pass to watch the Blazers games. But this year, being a shortened season, they didn't have it. So the games that were defaulted to NBA TV, if you don't have a network that carries NBA TV or you don't pay for the NBA TV subscription, you don't get the game. Or sorry, let me rephrase that. If it's on the local network, which is NBC Sports Northwest, it will default to that network, even if it's on the NBA TV, and you will just get host. So if your network doesn't carry NBA Sports Northwest or NBC Sports Northwest, you'll be host.
Right, and I have Dish. I have Dish Network, and Dish Network.
You don't have that, yeah.
It doesn't have NBC Sports Northwest. But it does have NBC Sports. I can watch all the hockey I want, and English Premier League, but I can't.
So much hockey.
I can't watch. Here I am in the middle of Central Washington. And for some reason, I'm blacked out from watching Portland play in Denver because they think I should be at the game, which is restricted to X amount of fans
Sonics
anyway.
Ruined it for everyone. So
I don't understand. They feel like I should pay the money to fly to Denver and go to the game as opposed to watching it at home.
Well, normally your path would be to buy this Blazer thing, which I think is like $100, and you just get every Blazer game. You don't get anything else, just Blazer games.
Yeah, I don't want that either.
I mean, I'd pay for it. When I don't live here one day in Oregon anymore, I'm going to pay for it because I want to watch the games. Hopefully, it's on the East Coast and I can actually get decent time games. I hate these early start games.
But my point is this: did you watch it on NBA TV? You watched it on NBC Sports?
I watched it on NBC Sports Network.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Because I have both, but it's blacked out on NBA TV if you're in the NBC Sports Northwest region.
Right. And because my carrier doesn't carry that or doesn't provide that,
You
I
are
just am SOL.
particularly
I just can't
hosed.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's pretty freaking terrible. You are in a very terrible spot for that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a charter either, or sorry, Dish, either get this or get out of here. One of those two things. It's kind of their deal.
All
That's
right.
not going to help you either way.
On the plus side, I have the Big 12 network, or the
Hey,
Longhorn network, and it's the Big 10 network.
all
I've
right.
got things that I don't watch.
Sweet.
I mean, just trade all those channels for anyway, whatever.
I have about 6 of those networks I don't watch either. But back to the Blazers.
Well, I think we're gonna move on because Game Six.
Oh.
Because I don't want to talk about it anymore. Game 6. Let's just let that one go. Game 6 is tomorrow night. It's a must win. Starts
Sure.
at It's the early game. Starts at what time?
Starts at 5.
Starts
5
at 5.
Pacific, so 8
Yeah.
Eastern.
Because the Lakers play later after. It's a doubleheader on TNT.
Yeah, the Lakers got that prime time slot. So now I have to. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine Portland rush hour traffic? For those of you who don't know, Portland is the worst place on earth to drive. Period. Period.
That's
You've
not
seen
true.
that picture of that place in China with like the 70 lanes that merge into 2 lanes?
Yeah.
This is worse than that on a daily basis. It's so terrible. Now you're throwing in a Blazer game, which is right off of downtown, right off the 2 major interstates
Yep.
at 5 o'clock.
You got to be there at like 1.
Oh, so I'm going to the game with my buddy Joey. We're going to be hopping in the car, I think, at 3 and heading there. So we'll be at the stadium by 3:30, chilling.
You just got to go over to Dr. Jack's, have yourself a drink, wait outside, right? It's right there.
Do they have a Dr. Jack drink?
I don't know, but
Sounds like they
may.
should.
They don't.
Yeah, no.
But isn't that what the restaurant's called?
Yeah, right next to the what's it called, the therapy center where they get all their surgery done, things like that. Yeah, Dr. Jack's. It's a pretty cool happening spot on game days. That's dead any other time.
Yep, that's the spot to be. Make all their money on what 40 nights a year.
Man, easy. I mean, with the amount they charge per beer, they should.
Well, it's location. That's what you're paying for, location.
Oh my gosh. I get so envious when I see these posts about the New England Patriots have price fixed their drinks. The Atlanta Falcons in their stadium, they've price fixed their food and drinks and things like that. And I'm over here paying $12 for a what's it called, Modelo, like a Modelo tall boy, like
That's
a
important.
sucker. Yeah, I mean, but that crap's like $3 at the store.
Uh-huh.
If anybody wonders why they make backpacks that are plastic that you can, like a Camelback that you can put beer in and take into a stadium, if everyone's like, oh, that's crappy, it's like, well, I don't want to spend $12 on a $3 beer. It's stupid.
No, that's true.
They got to work on that. That stadium's paid off. It's time to pay back the fans.
You're not wrong, but they'll never do that. So
no, not here anyways.
No. So all right, let's move. Clippers Mavericks
tonight.
Series
right now.
Series is tied at 2. After the Clippers beat the Mavs 106-81, they just pummeled them on Sunday.
Yeah, they did.
And no one's won at home yet. It's 4
I love
road
that.
wins.
I think that's fantastic.
Game 5 is on supposedly right now. Before I do that, let me give you a quick update that Colorado and Las Vegas are tied at 1 with about 6:35 to go in the first.
Yeah, a little bit of a bummer there.
Yeah. So now we are talking about Mavericks Clippers. It's Mavericks 33, Clippers 23 at 2 minutes to go left in the first quarter.
Right.
So 10-point lead for the Mavericks, who are looking to go up 3-2 and win another road game. So that's pretty awesome.
That's going to be a heck of a series either way. I mean, I thought it was looking like just a blowout because the Mavericks won 2 games very convincingly.
Yeah, it looked easy.
Well, this looks terrible. Right. And all of a sudden, you remembered, oh, yeah, they have Kawhi and PG.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But I think this is more even than it looks. I think these were just for, the first 2 games looked like it was the Mavericks easy, and then the last 2 games looked like it was the Clippers pretty easy. So I feel like neither team has an advantage. It's just one of those games, one of those series where you're going to get some lopsided scores. But we'll see. This might be the biggest game tonight. I mean, if you win Game 5, if you're the Mavs winning it on the road, that's a big deal. Yeah. So. Kind of.
I don't know. I think Luka can handle it, but Luka's also got that neck strain that he's talking about. So I would say that if the Mavs don't have Luka healthy, no chance to win this series.
And it looks like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Well, let's talk about the Lakers Suns first. Phoenix took a 3-2 lead in the series after a 115-85 Game 5 win last night. Devin Booker, 30 points to lead the Suns. LeBron James, 24 to lead LA. Can LA win without Anthony Davis? And we don't really know his status for Game 6.
Negative.
Yet we also watched Chris Paul hit the ground with a shoulder owie, shall we say.
Got slammed into the back by Wesley Matthews.
It was some hard contact there.
I will say, I watched it. It didn't look egregious.
No.
But he was definitely trying to make contact with
and
him.
he wasn't looking. Is what made it so bad. Is that Chris Paul didn't realize the guy was there, and all of a sudden he comes sliding in and hits him shoulder to shoulder blade, and he's already got a bum shoulder. So yeah, he was in some pain. He was on the ground for a little bit. He
jumped
serious.
up. He ran off the court, shoulder sagging beside him. But
then he went right back on.
Yeah, well, I mean, competitor.
I know.
You love to see it. It's funny because it reminds me of I was at a PSU men's basketball practice, and Coach Perry was getting upset at players not rebounding, and all he said was, "I want you to put a body on someone. Anytime the ball is in the air, find a person and put a body on them. Because if everyone finds a person and puts a body on them, you'll create some contact, you'll create some space, you'll create a little chaos." And so he ran to the middle of the group of players on the next ball he threw up and just started throwing it like a mosh pit, throwing his body into players. That's what Wesley Matthews looked like. He's like, all right, ball's up. There's my guy. Bam, hit him.
He did put a body on him.
He put a body on him. It was fantastic. He did a good job in that regard.
And I'll tell you a quick story related to that is that in high school, our basketball coach told us that exact same thing. He got angry at us because we couldn't rebound. And he had a rebounding drill, and he literally said, "You got to go put a body on someone." And I remember vividly one of our guys putting a body on one of his own players because he couldn't find anybody else. There was nobody around, so he blocked out his own guy. And I'm like,
you don't need two guys going for the ball, damn it.
You didn't say who, coach. You just said put a body on someone. I did.
That's funny.
So anyway, got to be more specific. That's all I'm saying. All right, so Lakers Suns. Game 6 is. I thought I had it written down. Is it tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, 7:30.
That's right. It's the after game. It's the after the Portland. That's right.
Yeah, it's the reason why. It's the reason why I have to go to a game at 5:00.
Come for the Blazer game. Stay for the Laker game if you're watching TNT.
That's right. That's what they want. Yeah.
So we were talking about the Clippers Mavs. The winner gets rewarded by playing Utah because, as it stands right now, Utah has a 3-1 lead in their series.
They're moving too.
Right. They won Game 4 in Memphis, 120-113 on Monday. Donovan Mitchell had 30 for Utah. John Morant had 23 points, 12 assists for the Grizz. They're playing Game 5 right now in Salt Lake, and Memphis is losing. Well, Utah's winning 75-51 at the half. So they got a 24-point lead at the half. That looks, for all intents and purposes, like they're going to close it out tonight.
They've rattled off 3 straight. I mean, Memphis came out, caught them off guard. Donovan Mitchell didn't play that game.
Right.
And then now Donovan Mitchell's back, and they don't stand a chance offensively.
Yeah.
So
they're kind of outmatched. But we knew that going in.
Like this should happen. Yeah.
This is an 8 seed and a 1 seed. I mean, that's what you get.
This isn't a surprise if this happens this way.
No. And we wouldn't have been surprised either had the Grizzlies made it a good series because they're full of young, talented players. So you could see it, but Utah is the better team. So with a healthy Donovan Mitchell, they're hard to beat. So.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell's damn good, and they don't have. I mean, Dylan Brooks can shut one person down, but even if you shut Donovan Mitchell down, they still have Rudy Gobert, and they still have a couple other dudes who are fantastic, who are going to cause you problems.
Yeah, that is correct. So let's talk Brooklyn, Boston. The Nets won the series 4-1. They won Game 5, 123-109 in Brooklyn. James Harden had a triple-double for the Nets, 34 points, 10 and 10. Jason Tatum had 32 for the Celtics in a losing effort. Kind of what we expected. Brooklyn's really good. Who knew?
Who knew with three of probably the greatest players of the last 5-6 years,
right?
That you'd have a good team.
Yeah. Who knew that was coming? Yeah. So they're in sit and wait mode now, but I think most of those series in the East are about to be done. Well, the Heat and Bucks, which I think is the next one we're going to talk about. No, it's not. 76ers Wizards.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Another busted series.
Sixers lead the Wizards 3-1, but they did lose Game 4, 122-114, right? They were leading 3-1 going into tonight, right? And
Right.
they were without Joel Embiid, who had a meniscus tear, a small
Right.
one, albeit a small one, in Game 4. In Game 4, Russell Westbrook had 19 points, 21 rebounds, and 14 assists. And by the way, he's only the, what they say, fifth player in NBA history to have 21 rebounds in a playoff game.
Yeah.
And he's only the second guard to do it. Anyway, had 19, 21, and 14 assists to help the Wizards stay off elimination. But Game 5 was a little bit earlier, and
Right.
now they're eliminated.
Now they're done.
Now they're done because the
Now
Sixers
it's game over.
Sixers won at home 129-112 over the Wizards earlier this evening at the Wells Fargo Center in Philly. And despite 32 from Bradley Beal, 24 from Russell Westbrook, Westbrook is just a machine. He had 24 and 10 assists.
Yeah.
He didn't get the triple double. He only had 8 rebounds, but he's just a machine.
He is by no small stretch the most disrespected player of the current generation of players. The dude just produces offense, defense. If there was a special teams, he'd probably play it. He does everything, and he does them all as good as any center, power forward, shooting guard, power forward. He doesn't, or point guard. He does them as good as anybody. He had a 20, and 20 game. I've never been able to do that on video games on easy mode.
The Sixers without Embiid had 6 players in double figures, led by former Trailblazer Seth Curry, who had 30. He was 10 of 17 from the floor, and Tobias Harris had 28. And Philly just looks like the better team, and they should. They're the number 1 seed, so there's that. But anyway, so Sixers wrap it up. They're going to move on. So we've got Brooklyn, Philly, that's 1 and 2. Right?
Yep.
And the Bucks, who were 4, right? 3. The Bucks are 3. So that sets up a Brooklyn Milwaukee matchup in the next round.
It's gonna be great. That's gonna be a fantastic round to watch.
That will be more exciting basketball, we think, but I still think Brooklyn is way better. I don't think Milwaukee has shown up. They haven't proved to me that they're great this year. You know what I mean? They look good, and they win a lot of games because, outside of the top 3 teams in the East, everybody else is kind of trash. But
I want to believe that they handled Miami, but also you kind of just feel like maybe Miami was a little overrated.
Well, if you watched about midway through Game 4, I was watching in the third period of Game 4, it did not look like Miami had any desire to be there playing basketball anymore.
Yeah, they were mentally checked out. Yeah. They were done, and I'll tell you, that's an indictment on all the guys that Jimmy Butler. That's an indictment of Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and the teams that they might sign with. Like, look at this guy. He quit.
Yeah.
In the 4th game. I know that they're down. Yeah, it sucks, but he quit.
It's not a great look.
No, it does not look good. But because they quit, it makes you then question, all right, did they quit at any other point? Did they give a lackluster effort at any other point? Is Milwaukee that good?
Right.
So I'm hesitant to give them any credit yet, but even bigger than that, I'm very hesitant to give them any credit over Brooklyn, who I think is about to just destroy them.
So let's talk about Hawks-Knicks. Coming in today, the Atlanta Hawks led 3-1. They won Game 4 on Sunday, 113-96. Trae Young had 27 for Atlanta. Julius Randle had 23 points, 10 rebounds for the Knicks. Game 5 was earlier tonight.
Yes,
and
it was.
At the Garden, and not the Boston Garden, the other Garden.
I'll say you don't say it with the Boston accent.
Well, it wasn't. It's New Yorkers have that same kind of.
Do they elongate that?
Not quite.
It's like God.
Bad. It's not as bad as the Boston people.
No.
And you notice how they still kept a Garden even though they changed arenas. It went from Boston Garden to the TD Ameritrade Garden, so they could still say Garden. But the Hawks 103-89 winners to close out the series tonight in New York. It's 36 more points from Trae Young. He's you want to not like him. I know you do, but he's really, really good.
Wait,
what?
Are you saying I like him?
No, I'm saying you want to not like him.
Oh yeah, no, I really do want to not like him.
Right.
I don't like him. Yeah, that's the way to say that.
Right. But he did
not Trae Young.
He was 10 for 28 from the floor. It's not like he shot great, and 3 of 11 from 3-point line, but he did shoot 15 free throws.
and he gave him a 3 that sealed the game. But after he gave him that 3, the crowd was already on their feet cheering the Knicks, saying, "Hey, we're happy that you did something this year. You were competent. This was good." He hits this 3. The fans are still standing and clapping for their Knicks, and he takes a bow. Hits the 3, turns around, takes a bow at center court. Bro, I want to hate you, and I'm going to because you're kind of a dick. Understand the series is over. You don't need to do this. I wouldn't have been surprised if Julius Randle would have pump fake one right into your face. So
I don't know.
I just didn't like it. I just didn't like
right.
it, man.
I mean,
It was a little sassy. It's a little cocky for a dude who's about to get a second round exit.
Right. I mean,
yeah. Have fun with that. I remember when the Blazers made it to the second round. It was real fun for 5 minutes.
Okay.
I can't wait to watch the next set of memes where he's upset.
And so the other series we talked about was, Heat Bucks, and
Bucks,
yeah, the Bucks swept the Heat on they won Game 4 on Saturday, 120-103, and it didn't look like Miami outside of that first game when they put up a good fight. They were not present in games 2, 3, and 4.
The second game didn't look terrible, but they got blown out. But it looked like they were actually trying. It just wasn't working.
Yeah. Well,
and so this just might have been a matchup nightmare. One of those games where nothing's going to work for you.
Giannis is not an easy matchup for anybody, and they definitely don't have somebody that can match up against him. So
he's a center with the athleticism of a shooting guard. It's terrible.
And when Chris Middleton gets hot, that makes it hard, and he does that occasionally. And
Chris Middleton might be my favorite overall, behind Klay Thompson. He might be my favorite number 2, because man, he can shoot, he can play defense, he can do everything. Blazers need to give out a couple first round picks for him and just go ahead and steal them.
They just need to. All right.
Like
if you say so, I don't know about that, but
I hear they're going to be looking for an GM.
Something that
could be me.
Right, maybe. Yeah. So we're going to all right, let's move along. Let's talk about something that's been a thing since we were talking about things and unruly fans. Unruly fans that's been happening lately. It's been an outbreak of it lately. It's just been widely publicized because of, I think, Russell Westbrook, didn't like what happened, but let's see what happened to Russell Westbrook first, because I've got to swap this thing over, and of course it's not all the right display. But here's the video of what happened. So at the end of the game, this was game 3, when he left with a knee injury, right? Yeah. And as on his way out, I'm going to play the clip here, and
game isn't even over. Yeah,
the game isn't even over. The game's not over. But here's what happened. So
fans, come out and cheer, come out and boo, yell all you want. We encourage that. This is just plain stupidity. Somebody pouring some popcorn, and any athlete, being Westbrook or whomever, they are pumped with their adrenaline. He's probably feeling bad. His team may be en route here to losing this game too.
So here's my problem with Russell Westbrook. not a problem. The popcorn shouldn't get thrown on him. But
absolutely not.
But after all, it is popcorn, and there are a lot worse things you could get thrown at you. But he
doesn't diminish the act. Just diminishes what you did.
He no longer had a knee injury as soon as the popcorn hit him. Did you notice? He had the most energy. He wanted to go after someone.
I mean, that's pure adrenaline. He was ready to run our test. This whole crowd.
I guess.
He would have come back. He would have come back as Russell World Peace for this game.
I mean,
it wouldn't have been for 5 coaches and 2 security guards.
Right. It took a crew to hold him down.
It took a force to hold him back.
It was not easy. That was not one of those things where you go, oh, look at they just held him back. No, that was rough.
There was 3-4 dudes who all had hands on him. Like, dude, you got to chill. You're gonna hurt us.
But that was thing 1. And then we'll go to thing 2, because thing 2 happened then at the Garden, between Brooklyn and Boston, and so this is after the game.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn is coming off the floor,
which, by the way, is the appropriate time to throw things if you're going to do it.
I guess.
Until the game's freaking over. Wait till the win is in your hand, it's done, and then you can throw something.
I feel like there's no appropriate time to throw something at people.
There's a more appropriate
unless you're a pitcher.
Sure.
But here's what happened, and the Nets are going off the floor after winning. What was this, game 3? This is game 4. Sorry.
Game 4.
Yep.
There are cameras everywhere, so you're going to see the toss right there. It just misses Kyrie. This is as the Nets were exiting. Kevin Durant was doing the interview with Michael Grady, and security began to converge and look for the guilty party. Obviously, completely unnecessary.
So if you couldn't see it, let me play it again, because it's really kind of hard to see. If you look towards the tunnel where the players are going out, someone threw a water bottle at Kyrie Irving or in his general direction.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if it was full.
It appeared to have some weight.
Right, but it didn't. It didn't act like a full bottle to me. So let's just. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play this again, if I can do it right.
I tell you that Kevin Durant will know the box score because he was all over the numbers. You know, unfortunately, we have seen issues around the NBA with fans crossing the line. Somebody
there's
tossed a water bottle,
view of it.
and it nearly hit Kyrie as he was walking to the tunnel. Tyler
I'm
Johnson
I don't
noticed
even
it.
think Kyrie noticed.
And
he raised his hand up like.
Well, he raised it after Joe Harris turned around and stared throwing a fit.
Right, and you can see it in this picture. If you look at the tunnel,
so you're going to see
a little whoop, there it goes.
Toss.
I don't know. I maybe and that
shenanigans.
It is shenanigans, and it's these are places, and I said this earlier. We talked about this off air. This is the East Coast. Fans in the East Coast are angry because they have to be around all those people all the time. So they're packed. the cities are packed with people, and there's no way to get away from them, and they just get angry. The fans are just angrier. It's not like the West Coast where people have a certain space. They leave you a certain space. The West Coast or the East Coast doesn't do that.
I don't know why, but all I can think of Bobby Boucher is saying alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth, no toothbrush. His fans are they're packed in there tight and they got no way to fix it.
Well, it was water. So
there was water.
I don't know. I feel like that was. I mean, throwing a water bottle is dangerous, especially a full one, right?
Yeah. I've hit in the head with a water bottle before, like throwing it to a buddy and stuff like that, and it hurts.
Yeah,
especially if it flips cap side over. Oh man, you're toast.
Yeah, the cap is rough. Yeah,
the bottom side doesn't hurt as much as the cap side. The cap side is bad.
Yeah, there's a little give everywhere else, but the cap hits you, and boy, you're done. So that was thing 2 that happened this past week, and that brings us to thing 3. When thing 3 is not,
it's more traditional than the other 2.
It's not an act of anger. It's just some guy who probably was bet by his friends that he couldn't run on the court.
Fair.
I mean, that's drunk guy. Oh, I can do it. Anyway.
Yeah, I got that.
Right. And you're only going to see a part of it because this camera angle, this is the TV angle, and you're only going to see.
There wasn't that many good camera angles up.
It was really hard to find. But if you look on the far right of your screen here when this comes up, you'll see the tackle. Here it comes. This is Wizards Sixers. This is game 4 from DC the other night.
With the rebound, he's got 11. He's got a double-double tonight. Oh my goodness! What is going on right on the floor? And a diving tackle by the security.
It wasn't the best form. Let's not hype this guy up.
Here in the third.
The Redskins better look into hiring that man right there. What a tackle there by the security.
Look how far the guy had to run. You know, there's a limited viewing, and they've taken out all the end zone seats, and quickly he is off the floor. And great job by the security in Washington.
We've seen some ugly incidents the last few playoff games. And I applaud that. We don't know what that fan did, but he did something to get tackled like that.
Apparently, I'm not going to get that.
Beautiful.
Anyway, you're going to see Bradley Beal laugh about it.
So the Sixers won the first 3 games.
Did you hear what he said afterward about it?
Uh-uh.
When they talked about arena safety and do you feel more safe with more people? And his end quote, he gave this big whole speech about safety and, people got to respect players and things like that. And he said, but does it make me feel more safe? I would say not really, but at the end of the day, these hands work. So he said, and I loved that. What a great answer. Like, hey, if somebody comes out here, I'll solve it if I have to, but these people can handle it for me in the meantime.
All right. We got 3 last things to talk about.
3 last things. Okay.
And I'm going to throw this one on here. This is one of 3. So this happened on this day in sports, June 10th, 2010. I'm going to set that up for you so that everyone knows. June 10th, 2010. This is one of the worst and best moments in professional baseball. Armando Galarraga is pitching for the Detroit Tigers against Cleveland, and at this point he has set down 25 batters. We're in the 9th inning. There's 1 out. 25 batters in a row.
Right.
And Mike Redmond is going to come up for Cleveland, and you're going to hear the call from Mario Impeba and Rod Allen from Fox Sports Detroit. I'm going to let them talk you through what happens after this. Here goes. Wait,
here's the 1-2.
All right, hold on to that thought. It sounded like I knew what I was talking about, right?
It sounded like it was queued up, ready to roll.
It was. There was only one issue.
Can we fire our tech guy?
We can. Well, I don't know if we can actually fire the tech guy.
Can we fine him?
Sure, but he doesn't get paid. So that makes it.
So that makes him an intern. We have interns?
Well, I mean, I guess. All right, so here we go again. We're gonna let me cue this up again. So this is, and I gotta find the right thing because I didn't have the right picture to show everyone. So all right, so this is top of the 9th, 1 out. Armando Galarraga is on the mound, and Mike Redmond's at the plate. Here you go.
1-2, bouncing ball to short. Santiago, and there are 2 outs. 26 up, 26 down. Here comes number 27. It's Jason Donald, and a crowd of better than 17,000 to its feet.
The guy we've been waiting for all night.
Ground ball, right side. Cabrera will cut it off. Galarraga covers. He's out. No, he's safe. He is safe.
Oh, yeah, this.
He is safe at first base.
Took it away.
And here comes Jim Leland. Oh, my goodness.
Hold on to it.
Jim Joyce said he was safe at first base.
And they'll cue it up.
Make
Here
the
you go.
call. Cabrera, Galarraga.
Did he miss the base? He's out. Why is he safe?
He must have missed.
Not even close, man.
It's not even
out by a mile. And this is the human element you want in the game?
Well, not this particular one.
Why is
No, but that's the human element. Wrong sometimes, right
yes,
sometimes.
You're absolutely right. But that's you.
And that time it
you're
reared
missing
its
the
ugly head.
You're missing the point. Yeah, of that. If that's the
Yeah.
one you're gonna pick. But what I'm getting at is this is what makes this game imperfect, and that's okay with me that it's imperfect.
And there are times when it makes it beautiful, and there are
Right.
times when it ruins it.
So
This man was about to have his name in the record books forever.
So that was the
on a very short list.
So that was the 27th batter of the game, and Jim Joyce, the first base umpire there, blew that call. As you can clearly see, he was out. But
he's come out since and said that.
Yeah. Oh, and he apologized immediately after the game. He watched.
Yeah, he watched the
video
replay and was like, "Man, I screwed up."
And he
if only we
apologized.
had challenges.
and the way Galarraga took it with grace and dignity
was nice.
And the fact that he apologized to him and said, I screwed up. That was what turned. It could have been an ugly situation. It could have been just a terrible thing. But
you could have had a coach coming out of the dugout throwing things.
Yeah.
You could have had a lot of people very upset because again he snatched history out of this man's hands.
And on the positive side, you had Jim Leland as the coach for Detroit at that point, who was 90 years old. So he couldn't come out and really throw a tirade.
He was not coming out of anywhere. He was barely awake.
Yeah, he came out, but he doesn't yell at anybody. Anyway,
again, I took away that's the ugly head of the imperfect game.
Sure.
When it raises its head, it's at the worst possible moment, and it's the most frustrating thing on earth.
So,
but you're right, it's not common.
The positive side of that is he threw to a 28th batter and got him out too.
Yeah.
So he actually got out 28 batters.
He got out 28 batters. Does that make it a Well, no, that doesn't make it a no-hitter because that guy got on base.
Yeah, that actually goes down as a hit.
He took away a perfect game and a no-hitter
Correct.
all in one piss-poor call.
It was bad. I'm not.
Good
God.
God.
Going to defend that. It was a bad call, but it's one of those things. It just kind of happens.
Yeah, it's life. It's tough. It sucks. And what's kind of redeeming about it is that people will remember pretty much forever. Because even though I didn't know all the names of all these people, I remember this incident.
Yeah.
I remember this moment. People will remember that almost more. Can you name the other people who threw a perfect game? Probably not, but you can remember this. And you remember that he should have had one.
Yeah, this one's more memorable.
It sticks out in your head. So yeah. I will say it almost memorializes it more than if he would have just struck him out or, tagged him out.
Yeah.
It almost kind of helped that legacy. Actually, I'll give him that.
So we got 1 minute left. So you want your minute? You got something you can talk about?
I didn't have anything to talk about. I was going to rant about Russell Westbrook, and then that's it. No, I don't have anything. Not today.
Well, let's save it then.
Yeah, we'll save it for next week, and next week I'll get 2 minutes.
Hold on to the anger.
And at the end of the year, they don't roll over. But on the last episode of the year, it will be just me.
They don't
for a full 45.
You'll be the only one talking. That's right. So let's revisit the trivia question then.
That's right.
Because we got that. This was the 105th running. This past Sunday, 105th running of the Indy 500. Castro Neves was in the number 6 car. The question is, what car number has won the most times at the Indy 500? And do you know what the answer is?
Well, I guessed 3.
You guessed 3.
I'm giving the Dale Earnhardt treatment, but if it wasn't going to be 3, then I'm gonna do what you said and guess 1.
Yeah, well, it's not number 1, but it is number 3.
It is 3?
It is number 3.
Let's go.
The number 3 has won 11 times.
Wow.
At the Indy 500, and
it's the number of legends.
Apparently. And the last time that the number 3 car won at the Indy 500, do you know?
1976.
No, it was 2009, and it was Helio Castro Neves.
Oh my gosh, really?
3. When he won his 3rd title, he was in the number 3 car.
Oh wow!
So,
wait, he's in number
6. He was number 6 this weekend.
Who drove number 3 this past time? Was that Air Force guy Daly?
Oh, I don't know who was in number 3 this
sorry.
week.
Like I said, I watched the first 24 or 30 laps of the show or of the race, and after that I was like, all right, I have to do something else. But I'm pretty sure I remember seeing the number 3 was in the lead for a brief moment.
Yeah.
So, very cool.
He joins the likes of Bobby Rahal and Al Unser and Bobby Unser, who all drove number 3 cars.
Full circle stuff.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's pretty impressive. So, that's your trivia question answer. I know. Everybody
I got it
trivia.
right, and I called the shot Babe early in the show.
Sort of like Babe's a stretch. But
no,
all right.
I did it like Babe. It was pretty good.
Right. So, all right. That is all we have for this week, and we'll let Parker hold on to his minute and bank it.
Be ready, because I'm getting 2 minutes next week, and your ears are going to bleed.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be. It's must hear radio. It's not really radio though.
I can't wait to talk. Well, by next weekend, we'll know if the Blazers are in the second round or not.
We will. It's true.
So my 2 minutes could totally revolve around that.
Absolutely.
It could be pretty.
It could all change, tomorrow.
Could be terrible. We'll see.
You ever hear? I'm gonna waste another minute. You ever hear the George Carlin stand up where he talks about leftovers or things in the fridge? And he talks about this container that has something brown in it. And he goes, and you go and you open it up, and he goes, you give it a sniff, and he goes, it smells like absolutely nothing. He goes, and I don't really know what it is. He goes, could be meat, could be cake. I feel like that's what we're going to get with your minute or 2 minutes next week.
Could be meat, could be cake.
We'll
find out.
We have no idea.
Tune in next week.
Yeah, you're going to find out. So that is all we have for this week. We're going to be back on Wednesday, June 9th with more playoff coverage, both NHL and NBA. We're talking about the MLS, the WNBA, a little bit of MLB. I'm going to find a way to do You Make the Call.
Yes, I like that.
Next week. We'll throw that in there because we're going to run out of games here soon. Again, we are live streaming on YouTube every weekend. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports, on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can email us, lammsports@gmail.com. We want to thank our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media, LLC. We want to thank everybody for listening, and we'll see you all next week.